Now,
Yes.
welcome to the actionable advice segment of the show. We are so excited to bring you our first guest today for episode. We are honorable. We are honored and to introduce Vicky Stoley, a speaker, writer, a certified wisdom. I love that wisdom coach. Get your pen. I got my pen. Let's get ready to take some note. Who helps individual connect to their inner resilience. Okay? I don't know about you, but I'm ready for this. Through heartfelt workshop, presentation, and one-on-one section. Now, as a founder of Dragonfly Pan, what?
She's a founder of Dragonfly Paradigm.
I'm having something totally different here. It mine says paradise. It okay. Okay. She guides children and families to a journey to discover the strength, to strengthen their resilient skill, providing tools, resources, and navigating life challenges with grace and courage. Now, I like the sound of that, Dixie Ann. What about you?
I do too. I am excited to welcome her on. Where is Vicky?
Miss Vicky, we are so excited. Where are you? Where are you?
That
It
that
is
was
so
quite, yeah.
wonderful to have you. It is nice to meet you. I'm also a fellow wisdom coach, so it's
Oh,
wonderful to have you on stage with us. Can you go ahead and share for me what's your personal experience growing up with a cleft palate and how facing bullying shaped your passion for becoming a coach who teaches resilience?
absolutely. Well, I will say, Camille, I might change my business name to Dragonfly Paradise Paradigm because I like that very much.
I like it. Just
Yes,
remember, I gave you that idea.
that's right. I got you, girl. I got it. Yes. So I was born with a bilateral cleft lip and palate in 1977. And as I'm sure you can imagine, and the viewers can imagine as well, growing up with the visible difference at times was very challenging and certainly had me open to bullying. Just as I was out and about in the world. And it started when I was 6 years old and started school for the very first time and getting called ugly. And, taking that first real negative word spoken about me from someone that I didn't know, but letting it, bury itself in my heart and really kind of then inform the way that I would continue to see myself throughout my life. And as things would happen over my life and other bullying instances, my coping for that was to just shove my feelings down,
Mm.
talk about it. I talked a little bit about it with my parents. My mom was a wonderful support for me as well as my father, but a lot of it, you just kind of internalize it because I thought back then that resilience was just, putting my head down and just making it through. I'm not going to acknowledge how I'm feeling about it. I'm not going to do any of that. And like I said, that's what I thought resilience was just putting those blinders on. But it wasn't until much later in my life that I really learned for me what true resilience was, and that it wasn't not paying attention, it wasn't blocking it out, it wasn't, not acknowledging how I was feeling. It was the complete opposite. That I had to acknowledge it. I had to really process and understand what being born with a cleft, had done for me, throughout my life. And it was in that acknowledgement and then thereby understanding and learning what the gifts were that I could really take what my own personal skills of resilience were and apply that to my life going forward. And that is
Mm.
my mission. That is what I want to do with my company, my business, my website, all of that, and these workshops that I do is to help kids learn at a much younger age than I learned myself that they have a lot more power and control over how they feel about themselves and
What
how
are
they
some
interact.
of the biggest challenges kids face today with cyberbullying? And how do you think parents and school can do a better job to support them?
Well, it's been brought up many times already throughout the show so far. Is with cyberbullying, it's the relentlessness of it. For me growing up in the 70s and 80s, there wasn't any social media. So I could kind of steel myself, going to school, going to different events, being out in groups of people that I didn't know and kind of, get my armor up. But with cyberbullying, it can be nonstop, as the various segments I've already talked about today. So that's a huge challenge. But that being said, getting back to my perspective of really being able to take your power back, take that control back, is that parents and schools can really work with their kids by having these conversations, long before you ever give them a phone.
Mhm.
Sometimes it can be hard to kind of work the problem backwards. You need to get ahead of it. You need to start talking about what are you going to do if someone says something not nice to you? How are you going to handle that? When I was growing up, my mom did a wonderful service for me where after that first kind of, incident in first grade, she helped me come up with things that I was comfortable saying back to someone who asked me, "What's wrong with your face?" or "Why do you have these scars?" or "Why do you talk funny?" or anything like that. And having something, in my pocket at the ready that I could then just say back that I was comfortable with to help me remove myself from the situation, to just, say something and move on, because many of us know that you can only delete and block and remove yourself from so many situations. There does come a point
Yes.
where at some point you have to say something. You
Yes.
can't get out of it. And so working with, my mom that time to come up with those types of things, it's the same thing for cyberbullying. I think sometimes we can think that they're two completely different things, and it's really not.
Yeah, it's all about that preparation
Right.
ahead of time for what's to come. Vicky, what advice would you give to kids currently experiencing cyberbullying, and what can they do to protect their own mental health?
Well, I think it's a lot about remembering that they are the ones in control of that device. As been mentioned before, you can block, you can discard and delete comments, you can make your profiles private so that not everybody can find you, and you can be the one that approves people coming